They didn't just want to slow you down. They wanted to see you completely dismantled because your evolution reminded them of the heights they were too afraid to climb. For a long time, you moved through the world wondering why the people you trusted were suddenly turning into strangers. But the truth is finally piercing through the darkness like a sudden burst of sunlight in a room that hasn't seen the day in years. They didn't just attack your reputation. They went after your very essence, trying to extinguish the spark that makes you who you are. This wasn't some minor disagreement or a simple misunderstanding that could be fixed with a conversation. This was a calculated, high-stakes attempt to erase your impact. They wore masks of friendship and offered handshakes that felt like home, all while plotting the exact moment they could pull the rug from under you. They didn't realize that you weren't standing on their rug to begin with. You were standing on a foundation they didn't build. While they were busy constructing an elaborate stage for your public failure, they were actually setting the scene for their own exposure. They spent months, maybe even years, writing a script where you were the villain and they were the innocent victims caught in your wake. But the audience is no longer buying the performance. The heavy curtains have been ripped away by a force they cannot control, and now everyone can see the messy machinery behind the scenes. They see the lies, the desperate backroom deals, and the frantic attempts to dim your light before it revealed their own shadows. These aren't just quiet rumors whispered in hallways anymore. The truth has become a headline that they can't ignore or delete. They thought they were burying you, but they didn't realize you were a seed, and the very dirt they threw on you only gave you the nutrients you needed to grow into something they could never contain. Before we get into the heart of this storm and analyze the chaos they tried to manufacture, I need you to do something for yourself and this community. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, because this isn't just about supporting a creator. It's about sending a clear signal to the universe that you are ready for the truth. Every time you engage with this message, you're helping to push it out to other chosen ones who are currently sitting in the dark, feeling isolated and confused by the attacks they're facing. You are helping them wake up from the trance of gaslighting and remember the power they've always carried within. The algorithms might just see numbers, but we know that every click is a spark in a growing revolution of consciousness. So, take that second to hit the button, and then let's go deeper into the mechanics of why this is happening to you right now. Being chosen isn't a path paved with easy victories or constant praise. It is a heavy, often lonely responsibility that requires a different kind of strength. It means the universe saw something in you, a specific frequency of truth, and marked you to carry a light that the world would inevitably try to mute. That group of friends, that family, dynamic, those colleagues who claimed to have your back, they weren't actually fighting you as an individual. They were at war with the divine authority that stands behind you, and their biggest mistake was thinking they could defeat a force that wasn't made of flesh and blood. The universe doesn't lose, and it certainly doesn't forget who it sent into the fray. It allows people to run their little games and manipulate the narrative for a season, but that season is coming to an abrupt end. They try to drown you in silence and isolate you from anyone who could offer support. But silence is where the chosen find their roots, and darkness is where warriors are forged. While they were laughing at your struggle and celebrating what they thought was your downfall, you were becoming absolutely unbreakable in the quiet. They genuinely believed that the distance between you and the collective was a sign of your weakness, but in reality, that distance made you more dangerous than ever before. To every chosen one watching this right now, stop doubting your path and stop acting like you're lost in the woods. The universe does not choose people lightly, and you were marked specifically because you possess a resilience they will never understand. You carry a level of authenticity that makes liars sweat just by being in the room, and your very existence is a threat to the illusions they've spent their whole lives maintaining. You were never truly alone during those long nights of betrayal. You were being refined in a fire that was meant to burn off everything that wasn't the real you. You don't need to go out and seek revenge because your very rise is the ultimate consequence for everything they did. Your success and your peace of mind are the echoes of every silent night you survived, and every betrayal you didn't let turn you into a bitter person. You didn't return the insults, you didn't respond to the bait, and you didn't play their petty games, and now you are beginning to shine without needing anyone's permission. Just think about how massive your energy must be for them to have spent so much time and effort trying to suppress it. That kind of obsession doesn't come from a place of strength. It comes from a deep-seated fear of someone who is truly extraordinary. Your name haunts them because it represents a truth they can't kill, and the fact that you are still standing and thriving is a ghost that follows them into every room they enter. When someone decides to dig a grave for a chosen person, they better make it deep, because the universe has a way of turning that hole into a trap for the one who dug it. They didn't fear that you were weak. They feared the exact moment you would wake up and realize how powerful you actually are. They never expected you to make it to this point, not because they lacked faith in your skills, but because they prayed you would stay exhausted and confused forever. They banked on your silence and your willingness to keep the peace at the expense of your own soul. They thought if they could play God in your life long enough, you would eventually stop believing in your own internal compass. But they forgot that they were fighting against a design they didn't create. And fighting against the universe is a battle that never ends well for the ego. This inner circle of enemies, these people who masked their jealousy with fake smiles and concerned check-ins, played a very dangerous game with energy they didn't understand. They tried to hijack your destiny as if it were a game they could cheat at, and for a short while, they really thought they were winning the match. They manipulated facts, twisted your words, and rewrote history to make sure you looked like the problem in a story where you were actually the only one acting with integrity. But the universe doesn't sleep. It observes every move, every whisper, and every lie. When the cosmic correction finally begins, it moves with a weight that can't be stopped. The silence you had to endure is now turning into a roar of thunder, and the pain they caused is being reflected back onto them like a mirror they can't look away from. The shadows they used to hide their true intentions are now starting to betray them, one secret at a time. This isn't just karma, in the way people usually talk about it. This is a systematic realignment of reality. When the universe decides to correct a situation, it doesn't ask for opinions or wait for a vote. It simply acts. You being chosen wasn't a matter of luck. It was a matter of being the only one equipped to handle the pressure. You were selected because you could survive the kind of betrayal that would have completely shattered an average person. That wasn't just a gift, it was a heavy responsibility you had to carry. Yes, you got tired and you questioned your own sanity, but that's because your presence was a glitch in a broken system that was never designed for someone as real as you. The universe never misses a single move, and right now, the bills for all that deception are coming due with heavy interest. They thought they were playing high-level chess while you were just trying to survive. But they didn't realize that every move they made against you was being tracked by a higher power. Every backroom plot and every fake smile wasn't a secret. It was a signature on a spiritual contract they are now being forced to fulfill. This wasn't just a personal betrayal. This was an energetic war designed to drain your spirit without ever having to face you directly. But the universe has receipts for every single moment of pain they caused, and it waits for the perfect time to demand payment. That moment is happening right now, and it is going to be so undeniable that no amount of spin or PR can fix it. They completely underestimated the force they were dealing with because they thought this was just a fight between humans. They didn't realize that when the universe chooses a soul for a specific purpose, it places that soul under a level of divine protection that is absolute. Everything they did in the dark was logged and imprinted on the fabric of reality, and there is no escape from this great accounting. It's not a courtroom where they can hire a fast-talking lawyer. It's a law of physics where energy must eventually balance itself out. You can see the cracks starting to form in their lives already. The chaos, the sudden bad luck, and the way their own stories are starting to rot at the edges. That isn't a coincidence. It's collection day, and the universe is here to take back what was stolen from you. They built their entire sense of importance on the back of your labor and your light. And now that you've pulled away, their house is beginning to lean. They manipulated your energy and created a version of you that never existed just so they could feel justified in their mistreatment of you. It was never about seeking the truth. It was always about maintaining a sense of control over you. But now that the real truth has walked into the room, their fantasies are going up in flames. The universe watched when they faked concern just to gather information they could use against you later. It watched when they celebrated your setbacks and when they worked to sow division between you and the people you loved. Now, it's your turn to watch them struggle to keep their lies afloat as the water rises. There is a profound irony in what is happening right now. The very trap they set for you has become the stage where their own failures are being broadcast. They build a platform to shame you and make you look small, but the spotlight has shifted, and now the world is seeing them for who they truly are. It's a surgical kind of justice where the tools they used to try to bury you are now the microphones broadcasting your integrity. Every whisper they spread has backfired, and every attempt to shut you down has only made you more unforgettable. They thought they were writing the final chapter of your life, but they forgot that they aren't the authors of your destiny. The universe is a master ghostwriter, and it has flipped the script in a way they never saw coming. Their entire system of gossip and ego-based alliances was designed to lock you in a room of confusion, but they were too arrogant to see they were locking themselves in with you. Now, the doors are closing, and they are the ones caught in the middle of a mess they created. People are starting to notice that the math doesn't add up anymore. The unstable person they described is the one rising with clarity, while the leaders are the ones scrambling in a panic. You were the warning they chose to ignore, and your continued existence is the proof of their malice. Light doesn't need to argue with the dark. It simply exists, and by existing, it forces the darkness to retreat. You didn't have to fight for this. You just had to stay true to who you are while they exhausted themselves trying to be something they're not. The machine they built to erase you is now glitching out and repeating your truth like an echo they can't silence. The energy has shifted entirely, and the props of their perfect life are falling over to reveal the hollow space behind them. To the chosen ones who are still trying to process the magnitude of this shift, let this be your confirmation: you were never the problem. You were the disruption that was necessary to break a cycle of toxicity, and their current state of panic is the direct result of a truth that refuses to be buried any longer. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone because their unraveling is all the proof the world needs. This is what happens when the universe decides that the time for games is over and the time for reality has arrived. Lies are like weak spells. They might look pretty for a second, but they have zero power when a real storm hits. There always comes a moment when the pressure of reality becomes too much for a facade to handle, and for your enemies, that moment is today. The truth isn't knocking politely at their door. It is crashing through the walls like a tidal wave. The narratives they clung to for protection are melting away in real time, leaving them exposed and vulnerable. They worked so hard to position themselves as the voices of reason, while they were actually the architects of the chaos you were forced to endure. They were banking on the idea that you would stay quiet forever, but they didn't realize that your silence was a strategic gathering of strength, not a sign of defeat. Now, the truth is unavoidable and pure, and you can see the panic in their eyes every time a difficult question is asked. The house they built on manipulation is finally giving way, and every single brick they used to build it is falling back onto them. The wildest part is that they actually started believing their own lies because they told them so often and with so much conviction. They wore the costume of the hero for so long that they forgot it was just a disguise. But when the house lights stay on too long, the makeup starts to run. Truth is a living force that doesn't get tired and doesn't age. It just waits for the right conditions to spread like a wildfire across a dry field. That is the fire you are seeing now, and it is devouring every false story they ever told about you. They tried to make you the villain by weaponizing your emotions and using your honesty against you. telling everyone that you were too intense or too dramatic to be trusted. But now that the dust is settling, people are starting to see the pattern of who was actually causing the harm. When the truth starts to click for the collective, a lie falls apart like wet paper. Their favorite trick was always distraction, pointing the finger at the chosen one, to keep everyone from looking at what was happening in the shadows. But truth has surgical precision. It cuts through the noise and finds the heart of the matter every single time. It is a beautiful process to watch when a narrative decays and the masks finally slip, revealing the truth that was hidden underneath all along. You can build a castle out of stolen bricks, but you shouldn't be shocked when the walls eventually cave in on you. There is a specific sound that happens right before a major collapse, a subtle shift in pressure, and a groan of something heavy buckling under a weight it wasn't meant to carry. That is the sound of their empire of lies falling apart piece by glorious piece. They thought they were untouchable and that they could bend reality to fit their ego forever, but they mistook their temporary influence for a permanent foundation. It doesn't matter how high you build if the ground beneath you is hollow and rotten. The ground is finally breaking under them, and that isn't just bad luck. It is structural failure caused by a lack of integrity. Their arrogance was breathtaking, but their downfall is going to be even more significant. You saw this coming long before anyone else did, because you could feel the wrongness in the way they moved and the falseness in their smiles. Back then, when you tried to speak up, they labeled you as difficult or negative to discredit your intuition. Now, even their most loyal followers are starting to back away in silence as the smoke of their exposed deception fills the room. No one wants to be caught standing next to a collapsing tower, and the people who once swore their eternal loyalty are suddenly nowhere to be found. They are distancing themselves because they realize that the truth is finally more powerful than the illusion they were sold. One by one, they will try to pretend they never knew what was really going on, but you know the truth. You watch them play puppet master and build a kingdom based on fear and control while calling it leadership. They were terrified of what would happen if the truth ever took root, and now that it has blossomed into a full-scale reckoning, they have nowhere left to run. This collapse is more than just physical. It is spiritual and reputational. It is the kind of fall that erases a legacy and forces everyone involved to reckon with their own participation in the lie. Breathe in this moment, because it is the validation of everything you survived in silence. The universe is finally restoring the balance that was tipped for far too long. A single lie can stand for a while, but when you stack dozens of them together, they eventually collapse under the weight of their own contradictions. At the beginning, people weren't ready to believe your side of the story because they were too distracted by the charm and the polished performance of your enemies. But the fog is clearing now, and what is emerging is a clear, undeniable pattern of behavior that can no longer be ignored. What once looked like a series of random misunderstandings is now revealed to be a coordinated campaign of psychological warfare aimed directly at you. This wasn't an accident or a mistake. It was a map of malice designed to destroy your peace and your standing in the world. They spent more energy crafting their alibis and rehearsing their stories than they did on actually being good people. Every conversation they had behind your back was a seed planted to ensure your eventual isolation. They treated your life like a theater production where they were the directors and you were just a prop they could move around. But now, the script is falling apart and the actors are forgetting their lines because the truth is too loud to talk over. People are starting to compare notes, and they are realizing that the stories they were told don't match the reality they are seeing. One person speaks up, then another, and suddenly the chosen one isn't the problem anymore. The group that targeted them is. This is the rhythm of truth. It reveals itself exactly when it needs to, and your only job was to outlast the lie. You made it through the gaslighting and the guilt, and now the light is hitting every crack they tried to hide. All those nights they spent spinning damage control were a complete waste of time because you cannot control the truth once it decides to stand up. The pattern is now visible to everyone, and it points back to the same people every single time. You were never paranoid, and you weren't imagining the tension. You were the target of a machine, But that machine is now broken and leaking in the middle of the street for everyone to see. The show is over, and the house lights are finally on. The masks have cracked so deeply that they can't be glued back together, and no amount of dramatic acting can save the performance now. They spent their lives trying to be the hero while acting like the villain, and that contradiction has finally reached its breaking point. The truth doesn't need to perform or cry for attention. It simply exists, and in its existence, it destroys everything that is false. You are standing in the wreckage of their lies, not as a victim, but as the only thing that was real in that entire room. The spotlight that was meant to shame you is now the very thing that is setting you free and exposing the ones who tried to keep you in the dark. If you have ever felt the sting of this kind of betrayal or the weight of being targeted just for existing, I want you to drop the number 77 in the comments right now. This is how we signal to each other that we are awake and that we see the truth for what it is. It's a way of letting the universe know that more of us are stepping out of the shadows and into our power. This isn't just a story you're watching, it is a reflection of your own journey through the fire. You were chosen for this exact moment of transition, and it is time for you to start acting like it. The cat isn't just out of the bag, it has torn the whole circus down, and there is no going back to the way things were before the truth arrived.